as well in Minnesota. Back to you.
Okay, Andrea, thank you very much. Then there's the story of Chris McAllister, the former University of Arizona performer, number 10 overall pick back in round 1 by Baltimore. We just want to clean up an error that we made in the volume of stuff. It doesn't make any difference how high the volume. The details are essential, and we apologize for getting a detail incorrect in McAllister's story. We mentioned that he pled guilty to petty theft from an incident that occurred in August of '98. That, in fact, was August of 1996. He didn't pay a fine or a portion of it. It was eventually paid, and he is back to the point where he is in the process of back where he was with the initial sentencing regarding that '96 arrest, where he's under probation and on probation, and there was no other issue that had to be followed up legally after the fine that was in question was paid through the legal authorities. So Chris McAllister, formerly of Arizona, now drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, his arrest for petty theft goes back in 1996, not 1998. Dallas just made an interesting pick. We're going to tell you who that was, and the Buffalo Bills are on the clock as round 3 winds down from New York after this.
I was wrongfully accused, facing some serious consequences.
What did you do?
I was angry. When I calmed down, I dialed the wolf. They were very aggressive in my defense and very professional.
If you've been arrested and are facing jail or prison, dial the Wolf to schedule a free initial consultation.
My case is over now, and I can honestly say that I would highly recommend dialing the wolf.
Affordable payment plans are available, so when you really need help, dial the Wolf. Dial THEWOLF now for your free initial consultation.
Oscar!
17 years later, guess who's getting married?
My daughter and his son.
So your hair got whiter? Your ears got bigger, your nose got longer? But you still retain that unique, elusive, pain-in-the-ass quality that drives me berserk.
Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau. Neil Simon's The Odd Couple 2.
Premieres Saturday, April 24th. Get reacquainted on Showtime and Cox Cable.
Would you like to win a trip to the Brickyard 400 and drive the race parade car home? Here's how. Just follow Steve Park and enter the ESPN Drive at Home Sweepstakes, presented by Pennzoil. Watch the Goodies Body Paint 500 on ESPN. Note the Pennzoil car's starting and finishing position. Then call 1-800-581-3600 or stop by a participating Pennzoil Lube Center and fill out an entry form. You could win a trip to the Brickyard 400 and take home the race parade car or other great prizes.
Back in the 3rd round here of the NFL draft. We told you about Grammatically Correct and Pillar and Bailey. Tom Burke, linebacker, goes to Arizona. Very interesting pick. Linebacker from Wisconsin. Larry Atkins, safety, UCLA, goes to the Chiefs. And Dat, it's pronounced Win. Dat Win, who came over with it. Well, his parent, he has a Vietnamese origin. But first, Tom Burke.
Yeah, 6'2", 264, Chris. You have to decide defensive end, outside linebacker, Big Ten defensive end player of the year. You're talking about a defensive end who stays on his feet, gets after the ball carrier or the quarterback. Very productive player. 445-pound bench press, 37-inch vertical jump. Tough kid, very much competitive like a Dick Butkus. And I think that Kevin Green mentality, decide how you're going to utilize him. Situational pass rusher, outside linebacker on his feet. Kid made a ton of plays, number 74 for Wisconsin. Barry Alvarez, sorry to see him move on. He was a dominator in the Big Ten.
Then Mel, well, more, hey.
And that's against Floyd Wedderburn, Chris, right there. I mean, this is a kid, Wedderburn, who could be a 3rd or 4th round pick. We thought could even be a 2nd rounder. So he did it against top players. I mean, you're talking about Big Ten competition. That win as well. Going to the Dallas Cowboys. Talk about productivity of Tom Burke. How about that win? Sifting through the trash. 5'11", 234, Jesse Tuggle, Zach Thomas type size. Tackles, 517, amazing. 10.7 a game. Watch number 9 here. See the vision, the eyes. Blocker awareness, tremendous. That win has that going for him here on the sack. Didn't get a lot of these during his career, but very active. One around the line of scrimmage, can play in reverse. Watch him here. Doesn't get caught up with blockers. Stays on his feet, makes plays. So compensates for his size in Dallas' scheme, Joe. They can free him up. Undersized linebackers have been effective in Dallas' scheme.
Again, Dallas sort of going with the speed. Here you see, in all the highlights that we're looking at, You see him just look at him keep his head up. He picks his spots, then he bursts for the ball. That's the kind of thing, when you're talking about putting together a defensive team, you're putting together a football team that's based upon speed. And certainly Wynn is a nice addition to the Dallas Cowboys. And the small guys in the middle, you know, Zach Thomas, as you mentioned, is a guy that everybody now is not afraid to take a smaller guy because they know the production that they can get out of him. Stephen Boyd up in Detroit, another smallish middle linebacker. Guys who really get lost behind the big offensive and defensive linemen, and all of a sudden they're up in the face of a running back. So it works out very well for them.
Well, you mentioned some of the small linebackers. Once upon a time, Tom Jackson was known as Tiny Tom Jackson when he played for the Orange Crush in Denver. That was only last year, Tommy, anyway. I know you love these small linebackers, and Dat Wynn is a sifter, as Mel would describe. It's not all size, is it, Tommy?
No, it's not all size, Chris. And I thought that Dat Wynn had great range, a tremendous impact hitter, like his speed, his intensity on the football field. I think the only worry is, and as you said, I was Tiny Tom Jackson when I played. Linemen have gotten so big now, if you put a guy like that in the middle, you certainly risk having those big 320, 330-pound plus linemen engulf him. And I think that's where, but I think that as I watch Dat Wynn, my hope for him is that he will be the exception to the rule. Chris?
All right, Tommy, thank you very much. We'll get out to you again shortly, but let's go to another AFC West team. And joining us now is the coach / general manager / executive vice president of the Seattle Seahawks, Mike Holmgren. Yeah, you took the second round off, and it must have been odd, Mike, watching the Packers have a pick that was compensation for you. I mean, you're going to follow that kid's career? I mean, that's one thing you got to follow as he moves along.
All the way. All the way. In fact, I told, I congratulated Ron after the pick, said, good job. I tried to get the pick back before he made it, but he wouldn't do it.
Fred Vinson is the one we were talking about there. Now, you guys made 2 picks in the 3rd round. Now, Brock Huard, the populace there in Seattle, is more up on it than maybe you were until you really studied film on him. Do people up there think this is a big question, or is this going to be a real popular pick?
No, I think there'll be some question, because obviously football at the University of Washington is very, very important. Brock has been their quarterback. They didn't have the season they wanted to last year, and you know the quarterback gets the credit, and he also takes the heat. But I really like this young guy, Chris. He's physically an imposing guy. He's got great tools. He would be the first one to tell you his fundamentals, his footwork, and things like that. Kind of went downhill a little bit this year, and that added to some of his problems. But he's a hard-working guy, and we're going to work real hard to get those things back where they should be.
We got 3 young quarterbacks, really. If you talk about your starter, John Kitna, Glenn Foley, who was young, and now Brock Huard. Is this a little more open than maybe? I mean, does Brock Huard have a chance to move up, or is this just a learning thing for him?
Well, we'll see. Right now, John Kitna is our quarterback, and Brock has a lot to learn. But I think competition is healthy. You know, I've been in that situation before, and you know it, when we had Brett Favre, Mark Brunell, and Ty Detmer. So this is not unusual for us, and I think it's a healthy thing. And the best guy will emerge. I'm convinced of that.
What have you learned? I mean, obviously you and Ron Wolf worked hand in hand, and you had a big hand in the Packers draft. It was Ron and you in tandem. Kind of running your own draft. I know we're only not even done with the 3rd round, but what have you learned preparing for this and acting and making a couple of trades and coming up with extra picks that maybe you hadn't had figured out before you were really in the chair?
Well, I will tell you this. As you approach your pick this year, I'm a lot more tense and a little more nervous than I used to be. I used to sit right next to Ron, and we talk about things, but ultimately I know now what he was feeling during the drafts. It's an excitement, and it's a great thing, but it is quite different. I have great support of people, though, my coaches and my scouts, and so far this first day has been a lot of fun.
Mike, are a lot of people talking Seahawk football up there, which maybe they hadn't for a while in the offseason? Do you feel it in the community? Yeah, I sure do, Chris. You know, and that's the way it should be. The Seahawks, I remember coming up and playing against them when that Superdome the Kingdome was full, and it was a very, very difficult place to play. And we're going to get it back to that level again. We're going to fill it up, and there's a lot of excitement now, and I'm feeling it from the community. Well, you know, when the season ticket base, which once upon a time had many people fly in from Alaska to go to all the home games, you know, when you get those Alaskan ticket sales back up, then you know you'll have made it. Good luck, continued success, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks a lot, bud.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. When we return...